Well, SABC News is on scene monitoring developments in Johannesburg. Our senior reporter Chriselda Lewis has been in and around Johannesburg since the early hours of this morning. And for the latest, we course over to her right now. Chriselda, a very good morning to you. Tell us exactly where you are and what's happening.
All right, from where I'm standing at the moment, these shops here at this particular mall here in Vosloorus have been totally looted. Just crossing to my colleagues at Morning Live just a few moments ago, you'll have to forgive me. I'm going to have to move towards the other direction, where I'm told by some of our other colleagues that towards that particular direction, the Pick and Pay itself has been looted. Just one of the shops that has been looted here. I think I'm just going to turn back so that I don't take up too much of your time on this. Let me go towards this particular direction here. You will see the post office. That's what seems to be intact at this particular mall. The local pharmacy here, which managed to have some of these rails in order to protect it. The PEP, as well as a funeral services parlor here next door, as well as this liquor shop, have been totally destroyed in the looting that has taken place here. The ShopRite as well, the PEP stores as well. I'll move towards that ATM in just about a moment as well. You'll see what's taking place here. Police have made several arrests. You would have seen on our sister program just a few moments ago. Several arrests had been made by police. Very difficult to tell at this particular stage, Simphiwe, in terms of how many people have been arrested, because the numbers keep rising in terms of those who are caught in these acts taking place here. So what police are telling us is that 4 people were arrested just outside this mall. On our arrival here, you could see some of... let me see if this gentleman, I'm able to... Good morning. Sorry to interrupt. Are you one of the owners of the establishments here?
The centre manager.
Sir, please let us know. Every talk a bit about what has taken place.
Well, this started just after 6, and I got word from security that this started at Naledi Mall and at another centre. We alerted the police, that they would be coming up this way. And what happened is that at 8:30, still couldn't get hold of the police. They then, while they were here, tried to get hold of the police again, phoned the brigadier of the Vosloorus police station. They were busy at the Naledi and they could not make it here in time. They got here at about 12 o'clock. And I've been watching this on CCTV, and it was just too many people. It was just chaos. It's just so heartbreaking to actually see what... And I've got no words to say. And of course, let everyone know what's happened. And I've been for 50 years here in Vosloorus, and I've never witnessed something like this. And been part of this community for 50 years.
And I mean, how long? I mean, you're obviously not going to be able to open the centre. The damage is obviously running into quite a couple of perhaps million.
Well, we now got to just see where we go from here and look at when we can open, and obviously we got to assess the situation before we actually get back on our feet. But this is just heartbreaking. It's just, I just don't have words, and I just feel so sorry for my tenants, the employees, and I don't know. It's just heartbreaking.
So thank you very much for your time. But the centre manager there, Simphiwe, painting a picture for us. It's going to take a very long time for malls like this and others that have been looted to reopen. That means now, obviously, these employees need to go home, and the cleanup operation is going to have to begin. But because the situation itself is still quite tense at the moment, it's going to be virtually impossible. You heard what he said, that at the time where the Naledi Mall was in a bit of trouble, not too far from here, it was very difficult difficult for police to get to this particular area. That speaks to the issue of manpower. While police are trying to attend to a situation in one particular area, they are then being forced to be called to other areas that are also in trouble, including this one. The Pep stores, for example, one of the shops that has been completely looted here. And obviously, very difficult at this particular point. We were trying to speak to the South African Police Service, the Johannesburg Metro Police, in the majority, trying to get a sense of exactly how many people have been arrested, sporadic acts of violence that are taking place. So the more we move to one area, we're managing to get to some contact from some of our sources who are telling us that there are other areas as well that are in trouble at this particular stage. So we're not sure how police are going to be able to manage the situation, because you'll also know that while you have these sporadic acts of violence that are taking place during the course of the day, you have a lot of it also taking place in the evening. At about 4 o'clock this morning, when we crossed our sister program Morning Live at 6 o'clock, burnt cars had also still been strewn on the side of the road. So a criminal element certainly taken over these protests that are taking place here, and some areas as well. I've seen a statement also from the South African National Taxi Council, Santako, which is indicating that in Denver Hostel, one of the areas that we had also gone to with my colleague Japan Matabula, it's very difficult to enter that area because there isn't even a police presence at that particular spot, because police don't want to go in due to the level of violence that is taking place in that area. Very difficult as well for us as journalists to go in into those areas unaccompanied, given what had taken place yesterday with some of my colleagues being robbed in Alexandria Township and other incidents from other media houses where journalists have also come under attack. At this particular point, however, what I can report is that journalists are being allowed, from where I'm standing, allowed to do their work. The community very receptive of the fact that we need to be here to highlight this particular story. But every now and again, there are pockets of incidents where there seems to be challenges, in some quarters where people say that, the acts itself that are taking place, are unfortunate. Others have managed to get to work, and others obviously have had to turn back in terms of those we've spoken to since the early hours of this morning.
All right, Chriselda, I'm going to let you go for now, and we'll touch base with you a little later on. Thank you so much for your update. That was a reporter, Chriselda Lewis, speaking to us live from Vosloorus in Johannesburg, where other incidents of looting have taken place. She spoke to the centre manager, who said that the looting started around 6 a.m. this morning. And from Vosloorus, we now cross to our reporter, Simphiwe Makhanya, who is on the scene monitoring developments in Eshowe in KwaZulu-Natal. Let's cross over to him right now. Simphiwe, very good morning to you. Where exactly are you and what's happening there?
He's going to Eshowe.
The situation remains very tense here in Eshowe. I'm going to ask my colleague Thulani Ngcobo just to give you a picture of what the situation is looking like. Obviously, police are out in numbers. The vehicle that you see in your visuals now is from the Durban POP, but obviously other police officers are busy, patrolling this shopping center, because it's quite a huge shopping center, Simphiwe. Earlier on, of course, we saw those visuals of angry protesters looting that shop over there, where police had to be called, to try and quell the situation. But obviously, the first batch of police that arrived could not manage the situation, and therefore police had to call for reinforcement. And then thereafter, we saw the crowd, starting to disperse, and police, shooting rubber bullets at the people who were busy looting these shops. On my right, Simphiwe, this is more like a complex, a shopping complex. I can certainly tell you that the owners of the shops are still, in disbelief at what transpired in the early hours of the morning here. Their shops were completely looted. The infrastructure was also, damaged. So it's going to take some time for these businesses to be operational. And as I speak to you now, Simphiwe, the entire town of Eshowe is on shutdown. no movement whatsoever. Shops remain closed at the moment. As you can see, police are still busy, patrolling the area, trying to quell the tensions, because as they, try and disperse the protesters, they disperse for that short period, and then after a while, they actually, come back and continue with their looting. We'll continue to be here on the ground to give you live updates as the situation continues to unfold. And of course, a number of those looters were arrested a short while ago. But that's the situation here on the ground. I'm going to hand over now to my colleague, Jayed-Leigh Paulse.
Well, thank you very much there, Simphiwe Makhanya. Where are we coming to you from right now? We were in Durban earlier on. We're now in Pietermaritzburg, the capital city of KwaZulu-Natal, where this mall has just gone up in flames. We are still seeing people looting it despite it being completely gutted. And the N3 has been closed. I'm also told Moy River Plaza has also been torched. The N3 is closed. Their trucks cannot come through to Durban. But to tell us more exactly what is happening on the roads, I am joined by Victor Chetty. He's the Director for Traffic in the province. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Chetty. Just talk to our viewers back at home with regards to the major road closures and what exactly is happening in the province.
Morning to you and your viewers. Thank you very much. Yes, as of last night, midnight, we had to close at Harrismith. Vehicles coming into the province due to the attacks that took place in Ladysmith on the N3 at Bergville. The truck was torched, and we had one at Moy River last night as well. So the decision was that we will not allow heavy motor vehicles coming to the province, and the same from Durban as well. So if you noticed, you've been here for some time, that you didn't see heavy motor vehicles. Our challenge is, we have noticed this mall just behind us here was torched early hours this morning. So now if you have heavy motor vehicles traveling on the N3 and the N2, the hooligans that are perpetrating these criminal activities are going to go for the heavy motor vehicles. As traffic authorities now, it makes it very difficult for us to control. So what we are saying to motorists is rather suspend all travel today on the N2 and N3, and let's assess the situation towards the latter part of the day, and then we will give an indication in terms of movement on the network. And that is our appeal, because as law enforcement officers we are thin on the ground, because the attacks throughout the province is sporadic. So we need to move officials to those areas to attend to them. And we are working with the South African Police Services and other emergency services in this province.
Mr. Chetty, obviously we've been covering this extensively, and we as the media have also found ourselves quite challenged in terms of the violent sporadic protests hindering us from also going into certain areas. Just for the viewers back at home who are watching, who want to go to work, who are not sure if they can venture out, those hotspot areas in Durban, can you mention a few of those roads?
Yes, the city of Durban has a challenge in that you would picked up, they've looted a big retail store there, and the communities from informal settlements and surrounding areas are going in there now to loot, and they're becoming violent in that they want to go into those stores and help themselves to whatever. So Durban is a problem, and the Durban Metro Police are attending to that. What we are saying to our citizens is, my own staff that are admin staff, I had to ask them not to come to work because your taxis have suspended operations due.
Thank you so much, Mr. Victor Chetty, the Director of Road Traffic. Unfortunately, we just have to stop it there and hand back to Simphiwe in studio. I'm told that the Concourt is starting.
Indeed, Jayed-Leigh, the Constitutional Court is hearing an application by former President